In this video, we will discuss what midsegments are, and we will explore the properties of midsegments and use them to find parallel sides and unknown lengths. Now, a midsegment is a segment that connects the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. So let's say that this point is a midpoint, which would mean that these two sides are congruent. And let's say that this point is also a midpoint, which would mean that these two segments are congruent. Then the segment joining those midpoints would be called a midsegment. So this is a midsegment. So if I call this MN, then segment MN is a midsegment. Now, the Midsegment Theorem tells us two things. The midsegment is going to be parallel to one side of the triangle. So this midsegment, I could draw an arrow here to show that it is parallel, all right, to this side of a triangle. Okay, so these two segments are parallel. Also, the Midsegment Theorem tells us that the midsegment is half the length of the side that it is parallel to. So, for example, if I know that the midsegment has a length of 8, then I know that this side of the triangle is length 16. Why did I put 12 when I said 16? I have no idea. Okay, if this is 8 and this is 16. If I know the length of this side of the triangle, then of course I will know the length of the midsegment. If I said that DF was 10, then I would know that the midsegment is going to be 5. Sometimes you will see the following. All right, sometimes you will be given another midpoint over here, and you'll be given multiple midsegments at one time to play with. Okay, when this comes up, be aware that we're given all kinds of information. So if I know that MN is 3, then that means that DF is 6, of course, all right, because the midsegment is half of this side. But because this point right here is a midpoint, that also means that this segment is congruent to this segment. So that means that this must be 3 and this must be 3. So when you have a triangle that's made of connecting, a triangle made of midsegments, then you have this interesting situation where if you know one length, it's really giving you 3 lengths at once. So for example, if I knew that this length was 4, then automatically I know that this is also going to be 4 and this is going to be 4. So those are some things to keep in mind as we work through this worksheet. All right, in this section of the worksheet, we are given that all 3 of these points are in fact midpoints, which means that each of these segments on this small triangle, these are all midsegments. So CD, segment CD is parallel to what? So here is segment CD, and that should be parallel to the midsegment PN. Those are going to be parallel. So CD is parallel to PN. All right, I guess that's all they were asking us to do for problem number 1. Similarly, problem number 2. What segment is parallel to segment QS? So segment QS is right here. So that should be parallel to the midsegment NM. Okay, so those should be parallel. Okay, find the indicated side or angle. So we're supposed to find CD. So that means this is our target, is this midsegment right here. We know it's a midsegment because of these tick marks. But as we discussed on the previous screen, the midsegment should be half of the side of the triangle to which it is parallel. So if this is 16, then CD will be 8, because it's going to be half the size. All right, I guess they didn't give us a blank or anything, so I don't know, CD equals 8. I'll just put it right there. Okay, for this one we are supposed to find AC, which is equally obvious. Okay, that's what we're supposed to find. This is the midsegment that is parallel. And we have learned, of course, that the midsegment is half the length of the parallel side of the triangle. So that means that if this is half, then this must be 8. Okay, so AC is equal to 8. All right, so far this has been ridiculously easy. All right, now we're supposed to find all types of things. Okay, so we're given this long length right here that is 32. All right, half of 32 is 16. So you see these tick marks here. We know that P is a midpoint. So that means that this segment up here is 16, and this segment down here is 16. Now let's talk about the midsegment. So here's the midsegment, and here is the side of the triangle to which it is parallel. So we always want to pay attention to those. Since the side of the triangle, the parallel side, is 30, then the midsegment must be 15. All right, because the midsegment is half the side of the triangle. So that's going to be 15. Okay, we're also given that QS is 7. And you can use the tick marks here. Q is a midpoint, so if this is 7, then of course this will be 7 over here. Okay, I feel like at this point we have all of the pieces filled in, so we should be able to answer all of these questions. So PQ. All right, PQ is that midsegment. We found out that that was 15. We're supposed to find PU. All right, PU is this segment right here. We found that that was 16. And we are supposed to find TQ. TQ is this segment right here. It was 7. Okay. All right, now we get to do some algebra. So, of course, let's focus our eyeballs on the midsegment and the parallel side of the triangle. Okay, because we know that 2 times the midsegment should equal the parallel side. Okay, that's what we know. if we double the midsegment, it should equal the parallel side. So in this case, that means that 2 times the midsegment, and the midsegment is x plus 2. So 2 times the midsegment, x plus 2, should equal the parallel side, which has the expression 3x minus 8. So it's just a matter of solving this equation, and we will do a quick distributive property, and that is 2x plus 4 is equal to 3x minus 8. Let's get these x's together, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3x from both sides. So that will give me negative x plus 4 is equal to negative 8. All right, getting x by itself begins with subtracting 4 from both sides. So negative x is equal to negative 12. And finally, I will divide both sides by negative 1, which gives me x is equal to positive 12. All right, and for this problem, that's all I was supposed to do. Sometimes they have us go back and substitute this value in. So pay close attention. A common mistake is sometimes instead of asking you for x, they will do something like this and ask you to find the value of zy, segment, length zy. And in that case, you would have to take the 12 and plug it back in, and then zy would be 14. So pay careful attention. Are they asking you just for x, or are they asking you for one of the lengths, one of the segment lengths? Okay, watch out for that. So for number 7, again, we're just being asked to find the value of x. So this is going to really be the same exact situation. So in fact, I encourage you to pause the video and solve this yourself, and then you can hit play and see how you did. All right, but anyway, we know that if we double the midsegment, it should equal the parallel side. So 2 times the midsegment, so 2 times 2x minus 3, should equal the parallel side, represented by x plus 9. A little distributive property here gives us 4x minus 6 is equal to x plus 9. Let's get these x's together by subtracting x from both sides. So now I have 3x minus 6 is equal to 9. And then I'll add 6 to both sides, so I have 3x is equal to 15. And then we will divide both sides by 3. And that gives me x is equal to 5. All right, that's it for number 7. Okay, number 8. All right, I see you over there, 18. If all we're supposed to do is find the value of x, then it just seems that x is going to equal 6. Okay, now I'm just going to pause for a second because, wait, this is not a midsegment. I think they snuck in an unrelated problem, and I almost fell for it. So be careful, guys. I guess whoever writes these worksheets can be very, very tricky. This worksheet so far has been all about midsegments. And then every problem we had until now, we were given all of these midsegments, congruent, congruent. But then suddenly on problem number 8, there are no tick marks, and specifically I see a 9 and a 6. So this is not a midsegment. These are parallel, but there's no, they're not midsegments. So I cannot just go x is equal to 6. So be careful, do not fall for that on a test or a quiz. However, I do know that these will be similar triangles. So when I talk about the similar triangles, I am talking about Okay, this triangle right here, you know what, let me... Okay, when you have parallel segments like this inside of a triangle, it does produce these two similar triangles. So the red triangle inside is similar to the green larger triangle. All right, so if I want to find side x, I can either figure out a scale factor and use that, or I can use the proportional method. Now, in previous videos, I've been using the scale factor method, so I think I'd like to try the proportion method this time. So perhaps you know that when we do find a scale factor, which I always use k for my scale factor, we do a new side divided by an old side. You have to decide which triangle you're going to think of as the original triangle and then the new triangle. I'm going to think of the smaller triangle as the old triangle, the original triangle, and I will think of the larger triangle as the new triangle. It doesn't really matter which one you pick. Okay, but this is the way I'm just choosing to do it. So for the proportion method, I'm going to set up two fractions equal to each other. So I'm going to do new over old is equal to new over old. Okay? So I just need two pairs of corresponding sides in order to do this. So of course I'm solving for x, so I need to get that involved. So I sort of scribbled on it a little bit. All right, the green triangle is the new triangle. Okay. So you see that x is one side of the old triangle. Okay, so and it corresponds with 12, x and 12. So 12 is the new and x is the old. All right, that's one pair of corresponding sides. Now, I need one more pair of corresponding sides. Okay, I see that I have all the numbers over here, but be careful. 9 is the length of one of the sides of the old triangle. So I can definitely use the 9. Does that mean I'm going to put a 6 up here? Because I see the 9 and then I see the 6. Am I going to go 9 over, am I going to go 6 over 9, old over new? No. 6 is only this length right here. All right, 6 is not the full length of the larger triangle. So what is the full length of the large triangle? Okay, what is the length that goes all the way from here to here? Well, that is going to be 15. How did I get that? Well, I see the 9 and the 6 together make the full length of the new triangle. So when I do new over old, I'm going to do 15 over 9. All right, and then I'm going to cross multiply. So of course when you cross multiply, you go like this and you go like this. Okay, so I'm going to have 15x is equal to, all right, 12 times 9 is 108, and then we need to divide both sides by 15. Hey Siri, 108 divided by 15.
108 divided by 15 is 7.2.
7.2. All right, and that is it. We have found the value of x. All right. Problem number 9. Use the diagram of triangle JKL, this is a big triangle, where R, S, and T are midpoints of the sides. So that means these segments are all midsegments. Before I do anything else, let me mark some things for you. Okay, so notice that RT and RT is parallel to KL. So these are going to be corresponding sides. Okay, meanwhile, TS, all right, let me change the color though. TS, we will do in purple. And that is parallel to JK. And then we have RS, which we will do in green. Is parallel to JL. All right, so the colors will help you keep track of what's going on. So let's see. We're told that RK is 3. Here's RK right here. It is 3. But R is a midpoint, so that means the other side over here is 3. So that means the total is 6. So this TS, the midsegment, should be half of this, which again will be 3. All right, so 3, 3, 3. Get used to that. So next we are given that KS is 4. Okay, so KS is 4. So guess what? That means that SL must be 4 because S is the midpoint. That means that RT must be 4 because that's half of the parallel side. So 4, 4, 4. Okay, see how that works? All right, next time for the green one, JK. Oh, okay, they're saying JK is perpendicular to KL. Okay, so they're telling us that this is a right triangle. Okay, JK is perpendicular to KL. That means that this is a right angle right here. All right, which means that we could do the Pythagorean theorem, or if you know something about special triangles, this is a, well, Pythagorean theorem. That's what we would have to do. So I guess I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. If I want to find the length of RS, okay, RS, well, that's a green side. So I guess I'm going to have to do it now. So I need to find the length of the green side of the triangle. So I'm going to have to do the Pythagorean theorem. But what I know right now is that this side of the triangle is 6. And this side of the triangle is 8. And now I am looking for this side of the triangle, which for a temporary moment I will call that x. So if I do the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, all right, that tells me that x squared should equal 6 squared plus 8 squared. So x squared is going to equal 36 plus 64. So x squared is equal to 100. X is equal to 10. So now I can go back and say, look, guys, this side is 10, which tells me that the midsegment is 5. And by the way, since t is the midpoint, that means this is 5 and this is 5. Okay. Now, so find the length of RS. RS is 5. Find the length of JK. Okay, JK. JK is 6. Find the length of RT. RT is 4. Find the perimeter of triangle JKL. JKL is the big triangle, so it's just 10 plus 6 plus 8. So that's what? 24. So that's it for problem number 9. Okay, problem number 10 is the same type of thing, but we just have more variables. Okay, should I even bother color coding this? All right, I went ahead and did it, but I did it off camera. So again, X, Y, and Z are midpoints. So these segments, all three are mid-segments. So I color coordinated the mid-segment with the parallel side of the triangle. So YZ is 3x plus 1. So here's YZ. So this should be 3x plus 1. I don't know if I can write at an angle. 3x plus 1. Okay. What else do I know? Mn is 10x minus 6. Mn. Okay, so that's this. Mn is this whole side. And that is 10x minus 6. So both of those are corresponding sides. So how do they relate to each other? If I double the midsegment, that should equal the parallel side. So if I do 2 times 3x plus 1, that should equal the 10x minus 6. So from there, I'm going to do the distributive property. So this will be 6x plus 2 is equal to 10x minus 6. Time to subtract 10x from both sides. So that's going to give me negative 4x plus 2 is equal to negative 6. Then I would subtract 2 from both sides. So that's going to give me negative 4x is equal to negative 8. Then I need to divide both sides by negative 4. And that's going to give me x is equal to 2. Okay, but that's not the final answer, because they're asking me what yz is. They're not asking me for x. So I have to keep going. I probably shouldn't even put a box around that. Maybe I'll highlight it or something. So now I know that x is equal to 2. But I'm supposed to find yz. Okay, so from the beginning, we were told that yz is equal to 3x plus 1. So yz is equal to 3x plus 1. That means that yz should now equal 3 times 2 plus 1. Which means that yz should equal 6 plus 1, which means that yz should equal 7. So that is the actual answer. Okay, moving on to part 2 of problem number 10. Yx, let's see, yx is right here. So let me switch to purple. Yx is x minus 1. So I've got x minus 1. Now MO is 3x minus 7. That's this whole side. Now we know that if I double the midsegment, that should equal the parallel side. So in other words, 2 times x minus 1 should equal 3x minus 7. So if I do a little distributive property here, bam, bam, I get 2x minus 2 is equal to 3x minus 7. If I subtract 3x from both sides, I get negative x minus 2 is equal to negative 7. Then I add 2 to both sides, and I get negative x is equal to negative 5. If I divide both sides by negative 1, I discover that x is equal to 5. Now be careful, once again, this is not the final answer, because they actually asked me to find MO. So I know that MO is equal to 3x minus 7, which means that MO is equal to 3 times 5 minus 7. So MO is 15 minus 7. So MO is 8. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and click here in the red apple to watch the next video. Click in the green apple to subscribe, or click the yellow apple for the full playlist.